students or whatever.
I guess we'll go upstairs first, then out to the barn and around there. You're convinced that there was nothing important here? Nothing that would point to any motive?
Nothing here but kitchen things.
Here's a nice mess.
Oh, her fruit. It did freeze. She worried about that when it turned so cold. She said she'd fired go out and her jars would break.
Well, can you beat the women held for murder and worrying about her preserves?
I guess before we're through, she may have something more serious than preserves to worry about.
This would be you.
Well, women are used to worrying over trifles.
And yet, for all their worries, what would we do without the ladies? Dirty towels, not much of a housekeeper, would you say, ladies?
There's a great deal of work to be done on a farm.
To be sure, and yet, I know there are some Dixon County farmhouses which do not have such roller towels.
These towels get dirty awful quick. Men's hands aren't always as clean as they might be.
Ah, loyal to your sex, I see. But you and Miss Wright were neighbors. I suppose you were friends, too.
I've not seen much of her late years. I've not been in this house. It's more than a year.
And why was that? You didn't like her?
I liked her all well enough. Farmers' wives have their hands full, Mr. Henderson, and then...
Yes?
It never seemed a very cheerful place.
No, it's not cheerful. I shouldn't say she had the housemaking instinct.
Well, I don't know as Wright had either.
You mean that they didn't get on very well?
No, I don't mean anything, but I don't think a place would be as cheerfuler for John Wright's being in it.
I'd like to talk more of that a little later. I want to get the lay of things upstairs now.
I suppose anything Miss Peters does will be right. Be all right. She was to take in some clothes for her, you know, and a few little things. We left in such a hurry yesterday.
Yes, but I would like to see what you take, Miss Peters, and keep an eye out for anything that might be of use to us.
Yes, Mr. Henderson.
I hate to have men coming into my kitchen, snooping around and criticizing.
Of course, it's no more than their duty.
Duty's all right, but I guess that deputy sheriff that came out to make the fire might have got a little of this on. Wish I'd thought of that sooner. It seems mean to talk about her for not having things slicked up when she had come away in such a hurry.
She had bread set.
She was going to put this in there. It's a shame about her fruit. I wonder if it's all gone. I think there's some here. That's all right, Mrs. Peters. Yes, here. This is cherries, too. I declare I believe that's the only one. She'll feel awful bad after all her hard work in the hot weather. I remember that afternoon I put up the cherries last summer.
Well, I must get those things from the front room closet. You coming with me, Mrs. Hale? You could help me carry them. My, it's cold in there.
Wright was close. I think maybe that's why she kept so much to herself. She didn't even belong to the Ladies' Aid. I suppose she felt she couldn't do her part, and then you don't enjoy things when you feel shabby. She used to wear pretty clothes and be lively when she was Minnie Foster, one of the town girls singing in the choir. But that was 30 years ago. This all you was to take in?
She said she wanted an apron. Funny thing to want, for there isn't much to get you dirty in jail, goodness knows, but I suppose just to make her feel more natural. She said they was in the top drawer in this cupboard. Yes, here. And then her little shawl that always hung behind the door. Yes, here it is.
Mrs. Peters?
Yes, Mrs. Hale?
Do you think she did it?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, I don't think she did. Asking for an apron and her little shawl, worrying about her fruit.
Mr. Peters says it looks bad for her. Mr. Henderson is awful sarcastic in his speech, and he'll make fun of her saying she didn't wake up.
Well, I guess John Wright didn't wake when they were slipping that rope under his neck.
No, it's strange. It must have been done awful crafty and still. They say it was such a funny way to kill a man, rigging it up all like that.
That's just what Mr. Hill said. There was a gun in the house. He says that's what he can't understand.
Mr. Henderson said coming out that what was needed for the case was a motive, something to show anger or sudden feeling.
Okay. Well, I don't see any signs of anger around here. It's wiped here. Wonder how they are finding things upstairs. I hope she had it a little more read up there. You know, it seems kind of sneaky, locking her up in town and then coming out here and trying to get her own house to turn against her.
But Mrs. Hale, the law is the law.
I suppose 'tis. Better loosen up your things, Mrs. Peters. You won't feel them when you go out.
She was piecing a quilt.
It's a log cabin pattern. Pretty, isn't it? I wonder if she was going to quilt it or just knot it.
They wonder if she was going to quilt it or just knot it.
Frank's fire didn't do much up there, did it? Well, let's go out to the barn and get that cleared up.
I don't know as there's anything so strange, our taking up our time with little things while we're waiting for them to get the evidence. I don't see as it's anything to laugh about.
Of course, they've got awful important things on their minds.
Mrs. Peters, look at this one. Here, this is the one she was working on, and look at the sewing. All the rest of it has been so nice and even. And look at this. It's all over the place. Why, it looks as if she didn't know what she was about.